God taught me to see the world through His eyes so I could show others how He sees them. It's time my family sees themselves through God's eyes. We'll start by taking a look at what their lies cost me. After 3 unhappy and failed marriages, I finally found true love when I met Sherry, the first and only true love I've ever met in my entire life. And right from the start, we were inseparable, having doctor's appointments together, working together, sleeping together. We didn't want to be apart, and we said it right here in our own words. Now, since I've been putting statements up like these for years without any effect on my family, I'm assuming they cannot read, so I'll read this for them. I love you too. I'm hopeful we will always be together through thick and thin. You are my supporter, protector, and my best friend. We are not perfect, but we keep our hearts in the right place most of the time, and we've had an amazing journey as best friends and terrific lovers. And that's when I responded with, and I pray every day for an eternity more with you. Even though our love was so powerful that ended 20 years of alcoholism for the both of us on a single night cold turkey without word, it would seem our families preferred us drinking. Obviously, the night I got thrown in jail, my wife took to my own profile to say, "You all are extremely abusive towards David. This is Sherry Stoltz Bolin, and you all are jealous punk-ass bitches." Of course, baby cousin Coheen has to say, jealous of what? Living in a motel? Not wanting to keep a job? It was your cold-hearted actions in the first place that left us without a home. As far as without a job, this letter from Dr. Jeffrey Jenkins in Stillwell, Oklahoma, our physician, says, "I had the pleasure of seeing David Bolin last week. Mr. Bolin will be unable to go to work at this time because of his wife's..." Of course, I redacted the diagnosis out of respect for my wife's privacy. She requires consistent care and his constant presence. It is likely this will persist for several months. So I didn't just sit at home and draw welfare. I was busting my ass, learning everything there was to know about drop shipping, creating a company. I even filmed a damn commercial and edited it myself. I bought all the licenses, all the permits. I was doing everything legitimately, and I was establishing a business that the Better Business Bureau had said could be the next Amazon. But while doing all of this, I was also having to take care of my wife 24/7, fight a slumlord, fight my dad in 2 separate courts, and fight every single one of you sons of bitches, and the continued harassment and bullying and abuse committed by my own family against me and Sherry. And I'm sure you don't see yourselves as abusive, so you can't deny it when you start seeing statements like this. Abusive parents that just sent David to jail when he hasn't harmed a fly. My wife's not even allowed to give me words of encouragement, because right here, "You're amazing, don't forget it," and yet nothing said to anyone, and here comes one of you assholes calling her delusional. I guess to you cold-hearted assholes, love would be a delusion. Even my wife's simple request, "Stay away from my husband unless you have a kind word, don't speak to us." You couldn't even honor a simple request like that. Hell, in this post, the closest I came to mentioning any of you was I simply said cousin, and it had called me an asshole, and I accepted that term. And then I tried to make a joke out of it. And look at what happens. You guys start an argument that resulted in 25 comments. And what was the first comment? "Shut the fuck up." That's right. Of course, I'm only showing the negativity that you guys blasted all over my Facebook page. So let me cut to a little bit of love from my goddaughter right there, Loki. You know, I bet you a lot of selfish parents that don't give a damn about their children get goddaughters. But then again, this doesn't exactly look like a father that doesn't give a shit about his children, does it? Of course, then there was their older sister that my dad cost me too, because by believing his bullshit, I challenged paternity, and that was an insult and because of that, my punishment from her mother was apparently to keep her out of my life until she was 18 years old. This was the first and only visit I got with her before you guys fucked things up. However, your backstabbing actions were apparent to many people except yourselves. Here's one friend, not to mention my Uncle Jason, all the way down in Florida, who heavily criticized his own sister-in-law as well as my dad, condemning the many forms of abuse that Sherry and I suffered at the hands of people that were supposed to love us. And Grandma, on her deathbed, handed off her home in the old tradition when she said that Sherry and I could stay there as long as we needed. Witnessed by my own mother. You disregarded the wishes of an elder on her deathbed as well as our grandmother. Unfortunately, you chased us away from that home so fast that we had no place to take our wolves. And then Dad swooped right on in there with a bullshit protection order, preventing me from getting anywhere near the house to collect him. But did you give a damn that those actions had just cost me wolves I had raised from cubs and thought of as my own children? No, you didn't. You had no concern, no heart. You simply told us to call the police, which we had already done. And then you had no concern after that. Simply told us you didn't know and we should have taken them with us. But then you got the nail in the coffin. these comments. This one in particular from one of your fake profiles. In it, you've made an assumption that I deleted the initial comments that my dad claimed I made, that I have been saying for 5 years. I never said, and nobody bothered to look. Apparently you looked about a year ago, and you told on yourself when you said you assumed I was deleting them, because I can't delete comments on another person's profile. And as far as Facebook is concerned, these are two separate profiles, two separate people. So what was posted there now, posted there then, with the exception of the comments that you guys have been deleting. And how do I know you guys have been deleting your comments? For over a year, actually. Because of this. See how it says 38 comments, but if you go and click on it, there's less than 10. And it looks like a one-sided conversation with ourselves. So you guys have been very aware of your wrongdoing for quite some time. So thank you, because of your post, you confirmed my innocence all along. The last 5 years never would have been necessary if you'd simply looked then. So here's how God sees you. Here's how you've been judged. Every harm that me and Sherry have endured since Grandma's passing, loss of home, loss of business, loss of vehicle, separation, my 2.5 years of life lost in a cell and forced through treatment, all a result of your inability to speak the truth. And so God holds you responsible for all of it. And if you want his forgiveness, you might want to start making efforts to restore what your lies have cost me and Sherry. Not that you ever can, but the effort is what he wants to see. And instead of that, you've done the opposite. You guys have been aware of your wrongdoing, and you've been deleting the comments instead of coming forward and saying, you know what, we were wrong, holding yourselves accountable. Instead, you sat back for another year and watched while we suffered. In fact, you upped the ante because you started calling up here to Washington. I walked halfway across the country to escape you guys. And you started calling up here and telling people bullshit. Turning people I didn't even know against me. Causing problems for me up here. What, were you trying to finish me off so that way you wouldn't have to pay up your debts? Didn't work that way. That would have been worse on you. Karma would have really got you then. Well, I got news for you. Sherry started re-drinking as soon as started her drinking again as soon as we were separated. And I've got very good reason to believe that it's worsened, and she's recently had a wreck while drunk driving. And I cannot confirm her condition. You know, your bullshit separated us when we didn't want to be separated, when it wasn't healthy for her to be separated. To restore us, you're going to have to stand up and support the treaty fight that I have brought before the federal court and that I now bring to the Chinese people. You're going to have to, because the state of Oklahoma never was given the rights by Congress to grant a divorce. And I married her in Arkansas, the only one I did. So, out of all 4 wives, she's the only one that I legally married. And she would have to go to the Cherokee Nation to get a divorce. But only if the Cherokee people stand up for the rights Congress gave us. Efforts. And you know what? I'm going to put my Cash App on here, because y'all owe me a significant amount of money, and I need to get to Oklahoma very quickly. My wife could be in trouble, and her protector and her best friend has had to put up fighting your bullshit for 5 years. It's time you make it right.